Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to be reviewing a teen nonfiction book. This is Being Jazz, My Life as a Transgender Teen. So previously this month, I've covered I Am Jazz, which is the children's book of this same story, at least to an extent. It's the story of Jazz Jennings, who I think Jaden, possibly, that was the male name given to this person who is a transgender. She's female or male to female transgender. She is considered one of the earliest to be recognized because her parents started realizing, and she was diagnosed with what's called gender dysphoria when she was about 4 or 5. So she was really, really young. And she identified, in this book, she goes over her life up until she's about 15. So this came out in like 2015. So she's, I think from my research, she's had gender reassignment surgery. She's in her 20s. I believe she goes to Harvard. So, but I think I'll do some links to her in the description. So, but this goes over, this I believe ends in 2015, but it talks about how she remembers, even though she was born a boy, she liked dancing, she liked mermaids, she liked dressing up in princess clothing. Now, she was the youngest of 4. She has an older sister and then 2 twin brothers, but she always more identified with her big sister rather than her brothers. So, and it talks about early on how her mother did one of the silly little, I'm going to maybe like a crystal or something over the stomach, and it turns one way for boys, one way for girls. And in her birth, it turned for girls. Now this is just silly, but still. They were kind of expecting a girl because it worked in her last 2. But again, you have 50-50 chance. One day. But she talks about her early life. They talk about her struggles, finally being diagnosed and finding a doctor to treat her, at least psychologically. They didn't do anything medically until later. So, but it talks about her, their struggles in school, how it took a while because her father was very protective. He didn't want his child to be hurt, to allow her to wear girls' clothes to school, starting in like preschool, kindergarten. So I think she didn't really start being able to wear girls' clothes to school until she was in preschool, and she was in a private Jewish school. They are Jewish, oddly enough, which is June is also Jewish Heritage Month, so I'm doing some stuff on that. But it also talks about how they had to talk to the teachers and then talk to the principals, and she wore a skirt for a while. She got in trouble for adjusting herself because she had boy parts, which she did not like. The other thing she repeats is the fact that she, as a small child, looked down. It's like, my parts are wrong. I want to have parts like my mom and my sister, not my brothers. This doesn't feel right, which is all about gender dysphoria, is they legitimately feel like they're in the wrong body. Like, this does not fit. And again, this is something that is genetic. It's not something that can be changed. It's not something that is child's fault. It is not anything a mother can do while she's pregnant, or that you can do to a child to make them transgender. They are born that way. Just like people who are bisexual and who are gay, it's very much, you're born that way. That's just the way it is. So, it's, you find a way to live with it, and this is kind of her story. Again, she was very young. Her parents were very accepting. Her grandparents were very accepting. Her family was extremely accepting, which of course can be very rare. It talks about their struggles with the schools, her struggles with being forced, not being able to use the girls' bathroom even though she was dressing as a girl. She has to either use like the disabled bathroom, which didn't have a lock on the door, or go to the nurse's office. and she would occasionally sneak into the girls' bathroom, and then she would get in trouble for it. This went on until she transferred to high school, where the principal was very accepting, and they're like, yep, just go to the bathroom. It does not matter. I don't think that would be the way it is. She grows up in Florida before Florida went crazy. So, and passed some very interesting laws. But again, this happened in 2015. So, again, it talks about that struggle. It talks about their struggle with the school. The other thing that talks about, she played soccer. And she wasn't able to get on the girls' soccer team because particularly the travel team, which is the more advanced, because the state would not offer her basically give her permission to play on the girls' soccer team because she was transgender, even though they proved it. They eventually went to the national level to basically say, they present this information, she's been diagnosed with this, she's living as female. Again, she's under puberty age at this point, so it really doesn't matter. So, and unfortunately there weren't any mixed unisex teams around either, otherwise they weren't like far away. So otherwise they probably would have done that. But still, her father, she didn't really know this because she was in elementary school at this time. So this is going up to like maybe 5th grade. And her father had to fight. Her father was an attorney. He fought for this in order to allow her, and eventually, by going to the national level, they were able to do this. They also got some media attention. They did a thing for Oprah. I have my own opinions on Oprah, that I'm not going to get into here. They did something with Barbara Walters, where the family talked about things. They had people come in. Eventually they did do a TV show. She was an adolescent at that time. So by the time they did the TV show, she was middle school, high school age. And I think they might still be doing that. I'm not sure. I've never watched it. That is literally how I became aware many years ago of this girl, though I didn't really look into it at the time. It talks about the publishing of the children's book that I've already covered, which strangely enough, I didn't mention in the video, though it's probably well known. It's one of the most banned books in the nation, because how dare we talk to children about children who are transgendered, because who cares? Because they're crazy and they think it's similar to gay, I think. They're, one, afraid, and two, oh, my child is going to become infected with their transgenderness. No, again, genetic. They're born this way. You can't just suddenly turn transgender. You're usually born that way. It talks about their, again, back to the book, about their advocacy and different groups and different camps and things that they go into. And basically kind of covers, she's talking about her life up until she's about 15. And she does start puberty around about, I think around 9-ish. And her family does choose to have an implant to basically prevent her from starting puberty and turning into full-fledged male. Now, in my previous research, of course, I've researched that, and of course, in the course of this book, she does end up going on hormone therapy, so she can start developing as a female. So, but they do not start this until she's about 13. So, and then 13, 14 is when she starts doing that. And of course, since then, she's had gender reassignment surgery. So, in order to change her parts, essentially, down there. So, to essentially make her appear female and not have the male parts any longer. And again, she did not do that in the course of this book. She probably didn't do it until she was about 18. I'd have to go back and research. I did a brief looking. But this is a very interesting book. There's a lot of photographs. It talks a lot about the struggles. It talks about her advocacy and what goes on in her life and her family and how normal the they really are. I mean, she's very, very lucky because she has a very loving, accepting family, um, who've always accepted her, even though, of course, her father wanted to protect her. But, of course, so do most parents. So, but it shows how children know when they're really young and how hard it is. And they know they don't fit. It's like this, you don't feel like you're in the right body. That's the reason it's called gender dysphoria, is they're born in the wrong body. And yes, there's been some science that the brains are structured differently. So people who are like Jazz, who are male to female, seem to have a little bit more of the female brain structure. And I think the reverse is true as well, of female to male. So again, this is a really interesting book. There's photographs of their family. It's decently long. This is definitely a teen-centered book. She has a whole bunch of acknowledgments. She does list a bunch of films and stuff in the back, and educational books. So, which is again very, very useful. So I'm trying to get the. And also in the very back, it has information about questions from her family, from her parents and her siblings, how it's been for them. So that's another thing you get in the very end of this book. So with all of that, it's 251 pages, and that's not counting the resources. That is including the information, commonly questions asked to her family, and I think there's a couple letters from her grandparents that she included in here, which kind of gives their perspective of what was going on. So this is a fantastic book. I highly recommend it if you have a transgender teen, or your teen knows a kid who is transgender, or you're just wanting to be informed more, similar to myself, who wants to be informed more about transgender and this specific person's experience, which again is unique to her. Her experience is very unique to her. Other people have different feelings, different experience, and she makes that clear in her book. This is me. Other people have had different experiences, different ideas, and things like that. So it's very, very informative. It's very, very good. I enjoyed reading it. It's good to just kind of see the things from her point of view and how she views her life up until this point. Again, I've not watched the TV show. I'm aware of it. I don't know if it's still running. It might be. I don't have cable. I don't pay attention. It's also 8 o'clock at night. So, and I have a 3-year-old, and I've been cleaning all day, not this room. As it's pretty obvious that I have not been cleaning this room. I've been cleaning the rest of the house, trying to deal with toddler stuff. Plus, I'm painting right now. If you will notice, so thankfully I've managed to get the paint off my hands because I was painting all day yesterday. Me and my mother were painting our living room white, as opposed to the brown that we came in when we moved into the house 5 years ago. Back to this book. Very good book. Highly recommend. That's really the end of this review. If you have littles, please check out I Am Jazz, which is the children's book, which I have already reviewed a couple weeks ago. So you can check that out. I think I'm covering a few more transgender books. I'm definitely covering the transgender film thing. Is not easy, particularly since I try to keep it on the younger edge sometimes. So I'm covering some short films and stuff like that I'm finding on YouTube. So check those out as well. I think this is Jewish Heritage Month, which is kind of funny because I didn't realize Jazz was, her family are Jewish. Jennings is the last name that they use. I think publicly, that is not their original last name. Apparently it's very Jewish, which means it's probably extremely long and very hard to pronounce. So I think that's what they say. So Jennings is a posternym, or whatever word you would use for that. My brain doesn't always work again. It's 8 o'clock at night. I have a 3-year-old and I've been cleaning all day. And I was painting all day yesterday, so I'm tired. So, again, great book. Check out the rest of the channel. Again, I'm covering, I think, Jewish Heritage Month and LGBTQ stuff this month. I'm covering the series of the Guardians of Ga'Hoole that's going on this month into next month. The Guardians of Ga'Hoole is a decent sized series. I think I swear that doesn't end until fall. Because I cover a book a week. So it takes a while. No, I'm not covering owl films. It's not going to go there. It would be too much. Like I said, the Guardians of Ga'Hoole is a very, very long middle school series that's just going to take a while. If you want to check out some of the other stuff that's come out this year, I did the Princess Diaries. I did some more Tamora Pierce. I covered those. I did some ballet and British history stuff. I always have a tendency to do weird spring Irish stuff in March. A lot of stuff. Again, this is 2023. I'm filming in 2022. I think I started the channel like a year or two ago. So I have a lot of stuff. Some of my older stuff is a little weirder and a little rougher. So, but be sure to check out the rest of the channel besides books and films, and of course YouTube shorts and various other YouTube episodes of things that relate to what I'm covering. I do a little bit of travel stuff. In the past, I did cover a whole bunch of homeschooling stuff. Just at the start of the channel, because that's what inspired me. We are a homeschooling family, though I have a 3-year-old. And yes, by the time you still see this, she will still be 3 because it is June. By the time you see this, she'll be like a month away from 4. And yeah, we are homeschooling from the start. So that's kind of that. And of course, I have a master's degree in library science and spend a lot of time in libraries. All right, stop yabbering in this video. So check out the channel. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. Leave a positive comment if you have one. Thank you.